Hello, everybody. Welcome to Needing a Meeting. So it's me starting it off for you guys today. I don't apologize. I'll apologize. I not even so much apologize. She's got a storm going on, guys. Her hydro's going in and out intermittently here. I'm just going to get the live chat up on my laptop here. But how is everybody? There's Ben.
Hey,
Hi, Ben.
how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. I decided I needed an extra coffee today, so I took an extra walk to Tim Hortons.
Hold on here. Let's see here. There we go.
I'm jealous you went to Tim Hortons.
What was that?
I said I'm jealous that Stacia went to Tim Hortons. I love Tim Hortons.
Oh, she looks frozen.
She does.
This is interesting. This is really interesting.
I know. Carol is having issues with her internet. Looks like Asia's frozen. It's just me and you, Ben. Me and you and my big mug of coffee.
Oh, so we got a couple of Rebeccas. Okay. Let me turn this one off. There we go. There. Oh.
There we go. I unfroze. Yay.
I'm glad you unfroze. Carol?
Yes. Woo! So our electricity went out for like about 10, 15 minutes, and then it started coming on and off intermittently, and the internet was off for about half of that time, and the internet is intermittently coming on and off too. Yeah. I was out there actually fixing fence, which was not very smart with a storm coming, but my puppies were running up and down the road where they got out.
Oh no.
So I didn't get struck by lightning, so that's good.
Well, that's positive.
Hold on here. Let me see here. Here we go. Go this. So you do this. Put it down here. I still don't know how to change my name and that, but there. Ha!
So Crystal's asking for the link so she can hop on. And Carol, you're under Rebecca.
Oh, okay. Well,
yes.
It's okay. I just want you to know.
It's fine. I may be on and off.
Yes.
So
they can fix it next time. Then it's all good.
The link is where you see the two peoples there.
Yeah, and I think Anique and Carol have put it in now too.
Yeah, let me see if I can. I don't think I can do it from my phone.
Okay.
Where it says where the people are, if you right click it, it'll give you a link to copy, and you can just put it in the chat.
I think. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, we got Crystal. There we go.
Hey, Crystal.
Our surprise guest is on their way home.
Okay. Okay.
There.
Oh God, you guys.
Just been a day. I'm gonna move you up here.
Lord, I feel like we maybe need to do like box breathing just to get started.
Right?
Indeed.
Get some grounding energy going on here. Crystal, how are you? Any news?
That's kind of why I jumped in.
Okay.
So Kim and I were on the phone with a few different people yesterday. I had been hearing that there was possibly still an opening and that there was possibly somebody actually being shown around by someone that I know that lives there. And so I reached out to the one lady that knows a bit more of what's going on there and asked her for the the names of the people on the board of directors and which one was the chair, if she knew. She gave me 2 names.
Right.
And one of them was the pastor of the United Church here in town. So I thought, well, I'll give that one a call. Try that one first. So we called him, left a message. He called us back while we were still talking. I asked him, I hear you're on the board of directors. He said, no, I actually just resigned recently. He said, but what did you need to talk about if I was? And so I talked to him. Sorry, I'm trying to get my recliner up. There we go.
You're good.
So I talked to him and told him what was going on and stuff. And he told me the best bet, talk to Janet again. And so
Is Janet the one that was being problematic?
Kim was one of the ones being problematic, yeah.
Okay.
And so, sorry, Janet, not Kim. So Kim ended up phoning on my behalf, and I could listen in. I couldn't quite hear what all was being said. I could hear Kim's end, but I couldn't hear all of Janet's end. But what it pretty much came down to was, I guess the reason Janet was being such a, you know what, a female dog. She said that she has so many people phoning and everything and all emotional and everything, and so she just has to kind of block it out or whatever. But when somebody's saying to you that you don't feel like they're listening to you, that should like have a bit of a heart type thing.
Right.
But it ended up feeling a little bit better within half an hour, because I had reached out to the 2 people that were my references.
Uh-huh.
Within half an hour of getting off the phone with Janet, both of them text me and let me know that they had been contacted.
By Janet?
Yep. Well, by Monica, okay. But yeah.
Okay.
So it took that to sorry, she's trying to play with my laptop, and in the process of trying to get her to stop, she's playing with my fingers. Sorry. But no, it just, I feel a bit better now. The board meeting is this coming Tuesday, so the 19th. And Kim and I will be phoning Janet back on the 26th. What I have heard, there is 6 other people in line for openings. There is no opening in the building at this point in time, but that can change very quickly or whatever.
Yeah. So, and the 6 people that are in line, are they in line before you and you're number 7?
I don't know that for sure. She said that what happens is your information gets put into the computer or into a computer, and whatever goes on with the computer tells you where you land on the wait list.
Oh, so it's like a computer lottery type thing, like it has certain filters and it puts you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a little more fair than just a person who might not like you and
exactly
on the list.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's positive.
Yeah, that part is a little bit positive because it's actually a computer that decides whether I get a place. Then, like, the board has to accept me, of course.
Right.
But Kim was able to explain things a little bit better to Janet, and I think having Kim talk to her on my behalf just kind of said, like, look, get this ball rolling.
Yeah.
Crystal's got an advocate, and so you need to.
Right.
Okay.
So
Did you get to be part of the conversation? Did you get a feel for how Janet was getting how it was hitting there?
like I couldn't hear all of her side of the conversation. I didn't want it so that she could hear me if I said anything.
Okay.
I could talk to Kim and Kim could hear what I was saying, and then she could relay that to Janet. But I didn't want Janet knowing that I was on the line. Well, she knew I was on the line, but I didn't want to say anything because my mouth gets me in more trouble than anything. So
Oh, gee, I have no idea what that's like.
You'd probably know better than all of us, too.
well, let's just put it this way. This morning I was a little frustrated, and some of us were talking, and at one point the manager kept telling me, language, and I'm sitting there going, I don't know what language I was using, but obviously I was using some words that she didn't like.
Oh, goodness.
I don't know when I swear. I honestly, there's times I do not know when I'm swearing.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm...
I have to, I do. I really have to pay attention. Yeah. Well, so how do you feel about everything though in general? Like, have you heard about your trailer? Like, is everything, do you feel like moving forward eventually? Like, slowly kind of drudging along?
It looks like the people that looked at it last, like the second couple that looked at it, they are asking questions, like they wanted pictures of the electric box.
Okay.
So I sent those to Kelly, my agent. And then they were asking about the pipes, like the plumbing and stuff, which I didn't really know the answer to.
Now,
I can't go underneath my trailer, so I can't see what else under there.
Yeah. And to be honest, even with a trailer in Canada, any work that's been done on it, I don't know about the States, but any work that's been done on it should be documented. So any changes, any renovations should have been documented and put into the file when you go back and look into it for the real estate side of things.
Yeah,
and my assumption is it's copper, because I think you had said it was the 60s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably some copper piping in there.
Like, I know that the little piece that they had to fix on the town side of it a couple months ago, I'm pretty sure that was copper.
Yeah.
And it had literally corroded right through.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't believe it. It was like, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
and Crystal, now in the States with a home, I've never purchased a trailer, but with a home, you have to do like a home inspection where they come and they look at the foundation and the pipes. And do you have to do that there?
no.
Okay.
As long as they're okay with it, no. When I was looking at it to buy it 17 years ago, I ended up having, like, I asked the real estate agent, like, do you have to get a home inspection or whatever? And she said, you can get somebody to crawl underneath the trailer if you'd like and take a look and see what's down there. But no, you don't actually have to get a specific homeowner's home inspection done. And I am also selling it as a handyman special. Meaning, I know it has a lot of work that needs to be done. I've done a lot of work, but you're buying it as is with all the faults.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
I mean, at least they're asking questions and showing interest, so that's
Yeah.
good. You've got somebody listening to you, so that's good. And you know, that's great. I mean, I know you're still waiting, and that's
Yeah.
not great, but at least,
Like
it's going.
Kelly was asking me when I thought I might be able to get into a place, and I said, well, I'm not going to hear until after the 19th of March.
Hmm.
I'm hoping that I would be able to get get into Dawnview for like May 1st. And she said, so you could probably do a possession date for them for like May 15th. And I'm going, okay, maybe. Depends on if I get a place.
Right.
So she's actually put that as a tentative possible possession date.
Okay.
And now I'm going, oh crap, now I need to find a place. Now I need to get in. And so the
Well,
only way I would possibly be able to get in is if I'm at the top of that list and somebody moves out to beginning of April or gives their notice beginning of April, end of March, beginning of April, saying that they're leaving and they'll be out for March 1st.
well, you know what? Lots of ones for that and prayers
Yeah.
that,
Yes.
like harm to none. Of course, we don't want any harm, but that would be
Yeah.
amazing if that could happen. So
I don't know how I would feel if I ended up finding out that I was moving into an apartment that somebody had just died in. But I know it's a possibility. I do know that.
It is.
to hope that if that's the situation, it's not there.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
I mean, and yeah. But well, good. I'm glad that at least things are moving in a direction. I seen somebody got a new journal and said it was darker than the other, darker in color, darker in feel. Like, I'm excited you got a new journal. That's cool.
And I
Um,
apologize, you guys. I can't see the chat.
oh, that's
The way I have my phone oriented, I don't. Anyway, it's not.
okay.
It's not in the cards today. I've
Miss
got an
Sunrise Dawn,
active act of God going on here.
right? Miss Sunrise Dawn says, I have a sick cat that we've been trying to nurse back to health, but I think it's a losing battle. The vet has narrowed it down to
Oh,
either fungal infection or cancer.
oh
no.
I'm
I'm
so sorry.
sorry. That is I'm so sorry about that.
I'm so
We'll
sorry.
send ones out for you too, Miss Sunrise
Yeah.
Dawn. That's a different thing. Um, uh,
Oh,
and let's see.
Sending all the love.
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, home inspections are optional here in Ontario. See, in the States, they're mandatory and the homeowner pays for it. And
Yes.
then if there's anything that has to be fixed, the homeowner either has to fix it or has to take it off of the selling price so that you can fix it. But if it's too serious, then that's a whole other thing. So that's why I was asking. But
Yeah,
not
see,
to do that would be great.
up here, as like even when my dad sold their house in the city, they didn't, he was able to put it in as a clause for the buyer saying, if you want to get a home inspection, it is on your dime and I'm not changing anything. You're buying it as is.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
Now I know
Okay.
you buy homes as is in the States. I've never purchased a home as is, so I don't know how that works. I've only ever,
yeah,
done it the other way.
it more or less covers your butt.
Yeah.
Y-
So is it kind
Yeah,
of like buying an as-is car? Like you get what you get and you don't throw a fit? Is that kind of what it is, only with a house?
pretty much.
Sure.
All
Pretty much.
right.
So the last one in Ontario, the one that I gutted, was a 150-year-old farmhouse. And we found it on foreclosure. So it was 50% off of what the actual market price would have been. And we did the inspections because I know enough about plumbing and electrical that I was able to do that myself. And then I did ask a friend to come in to look at the flooring, the beams, just because it's a farmhouse. It's and it's 150 years old. The floors were wobbly.
Yep.
But that one, what we ended up getting as is, and then I know in Quebec now it's optional for the inspection as well, and that was after the prices skyrocketed here because people needed to get in and out of houses quick.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is correct, Rebecca. We can't see or hear you.
No.
Mm-mm.
Leo,
It's just
stop it.
black
Sorry.
screen that comes on and goes off and comes on and goes off.
Well, I've been doing that because I just thought that she just did that so that, to keep the meeting going as a placeholder.
Okay.
But yeah, we haven't seen or heard anything from the.
Yeah.
As long
Yeah.
as you don't hit the end stream button at the bottom, I have to look at my hands, right corner, it won't end stream. If you just close it, it'll keep going. And then maybe what I had to do was come in through the other link, not through the Restream Studio, because I was freezing and doing some funky stuff. Maybe try that.
Yeah. Yeah. So Ben, how are you today?
How is who? How is who today?
Doing
Sorry,
okay.
how is who today?
How are you?
Ben.
Oh, sorry.
Ben. Yeah, I asked Ben.
I can't hear you with my phone.
Yeah, that's okay.
Doing
Good.
okay. How about yourself? What updates do you have for us?
Well, I got my nails done, and these are my real nails. So I was growing out my real nails, and so these are so I can get back to playing guitar a little better. And I feel so bad. Y'all, I mean, this is really like not a big deal, but I always find pictures of these nails that I like. So I take them to the lady that does my nails, and I'm like, I'd like these. And they're always super complicated. And last time the lady ended up, she like hand painted the black things around my hand, right? Each finger with the tiny little, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's like a tiny little nail brush that's got like 3 hairs on it. And she went around each one. So I tipped her really well. This time I wanted an ombre thing. I didn't know. Y'all, she sat there and did my nails like one hand at a time. And she put a little bit of powder here and then a different color powder here. And I thought, God bless America. I had no idea I was so complicated. So I think from now on, I'm going to, like next time I'm just going to be basic and be like, one color, that's it, that's all. Not be complicated. But yeah, it was good. And then I went grocery shopping, and groceries are expensive. Like, I know I eat the organic weird food. Okay, I get that. But still, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
golly, And yeah, so I did that. That was it. So
Yeah.
I
yeah.
feel your pain. That's my diet too. I had a lot of there's a lot of things, of course, you can buy cheaper versions of, but yeah, buying the cauliflower pizza crust, things like that, hitting Sprouts and buying organic stuff whenever possible. Yeah, you bleed.
I mean, they should make it cheaper to eat healthy. You know, they
Yeah.
really should, but they don't. And I don't know why, and it irritates me. But I did kind of start off yeah, all women are complicated, but I think I'm up there. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I know myself. I'm a little toward the top. I know it. It's just know it. But I did kind of have a rough day, but it was amazing. I got to talk to two of my best friends, and they kind of helped me through it, and it was really nice. And so, yeah, some days you just kind of wonder. You're like, what, like, is this what I'm supposed to do? Is this why I'm here? Is this, like, even as I'm thinking about my channel, I'm like, why would anybody want to watch me? And
Aw.
I do.
Because you're Christy and you're cool.
I
And
know,
you're
and apparently I listen well. That's another thing I get told.
Yeah, that's
I listen well.
Yep.
And ask a lot of questions, mostly because I just don't understand a lot of things.
That eagerness to understand, though, it's rather endearing. So, like, I don't understand why people wouldn't want to see that. You know what I mean?
Well, and I told one of my best friends, I said, I feel like there's two, and maybe I've said this before, I feel like there's two parts to my personality. There's like that sweet, naive side that just is clueless. And then there's like this really like bad cop, nasty side. And they don't ever really meet, because if they did meet, I think that would be like a bad thing, and I might need bail money. So I'm like in this protective bubble of being protected by everybody around me, because they're like, she's either so naive she's going to do something dumb and not realize it, like run through Washington State and the woods in a trailer park and not think about it, or she's going to lip off to the wrong person and get in a fist fight. And those two things together are combustible. So,
And then we'll end up having a stream just for bail money for you.
just call my husband and be like, we're not sure what she did, but you probably want to, go.
Yeah.
You want to be with her. And my friends that are weird, like, but it was sunny and 80 degrees today, so I thought, I'm gonna dress up and wear a cute little skirt outfit and go around in my little flippy flops, and I don't know, it made me feel better. Still spent way too much on groceries, and Michael's gonna come home and be like, what did you get? And I'll be like, fruit. I got fruit and frozen green beans. And I still have to go to Sprouts tomorrow to get my stupid expensive mushroom coffee and creamer, because they don't sell that anywhere but Sprouts.
Of course.
Yeah. So
it was pretty warm here too. I went out for a walk and I was just like, what is this?
I know. It's amazing. My channel's name is Conversations with Christy. And so I think I have like 14 subscribers or something like that. But I've got pretty cool interview that I'm working on lining up. So I'm super excited about that. I'm gonna do some true crime. I'm really kind of interested in the Menendez case. I was about 13 when that happened, and again, in the little protective bubble, so didn't really know much about that. But as that's kind of coming back around, with my I'm very analytical and logical in how I see things. So I think I would be pretty good at true crime, because I'd be like, well, wait, that doesn't add up. Like, what's going on here? So that, but that's it. And then I'm, like I said, planning to do like videos of where I'm at. There's nothing super exciting about Baltimore, y'all. I'm sorry. I know there are people who love this town. I just haven't really been to any part that I have really been like, we should go live. However, Michael is off Sunday and Monday. So we're going to go to Washington, D.C. I was there when I was like 12 or 13, 11, 12, 13. I went there with the Girl Scout. Shocker. I was a Girl Scout, right? But I haven't seen it since then. And like, I didn't care, I was just excited. I was away from my folks and out of Kansas. And So I'm excited to go back and kind of get some pictures and see it. So if there's anything cool. Oh, and Nick was subscriber 12 this morning. Yay! I love it. Thank you. So, Pep Groomer. Sorry, I've been MIA, been so busy in the afternoons. I'm still at work trying to finish up 4 dogs. Well, Pep Groomer, we think about you often, and we love that you pop on when you can. I love that. Yes, Carol is playing musical squares today.
I thought I'd try it on my laptop because I can't see anything on my phone. I can't see chat. I can't see. It's like I have to have these puppies and be all like.
I was like,
oh my
So I didn't
goodness.
really think that made for great watching.
Misha says, yuck. I had seen earlier there were yucks going on in Oklahoma and Arkansas. I thought of you sending prayers and love. Misha, hello.
Hi. Ooh, yeah, we've the power's been out off and on. It was out for a solid 10-15 minutes, and then it was coming on intermittently, and the internet was off intermittently, and it seems to have been holding steady. I've been kind of watching it, so I'm going to brave it with the laptop so I can see stuff.
Oh, there you go.
Lord Kiss Freak says it's alternating between light snow and light hail here today.
Well, yeah, he lives up in the permafrost, so yeah. That's what he gets living at the Arctic Circle.
No, I know he doesn't actually live at the Arctic Circle, but where does he live?
It's north of the Grand Canyon. It's all permafrost. Everything's permafrost. I don't know. He told me the name of the town once.
I can never remember the name of the town, but I know he's like northern Ontario, and that is always lots of snow, lots of cold, lots of yuck. Except for this year, apparently.
Right. Oh, a Rolling Stone is here.
Yes, hi, Rolling Stone. I've been wanting to tell you, congratulations on your 3 months. I'm going to take my sweaty head where I was building fence and put a crown on it in your honor.
Love it.
Oh, there it is.
Yay. That's amazing, a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Woo.
Congratulations. Great job.
Yeah.
She's saying, hi, folks, in the dentist chair between x-rays and exams. Good times. It's good to see everyone. Can't hang out. Hugs. Well, we're glad you popped in. We miss you when you're not in the chat.
Yes.
Oh, hey, Misha says her girls are coming to visit tomorrow. Hey,
that's Christy Johnson. Okay. I'm still trying to find conversations with Christy.
Polar bears there.
Well, you know, I've got the prettiest profile picture on YouTube. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I love it.
I'm only saying that because Carol's profile is a little kid. Otherwise, I would say I had the second prettiest. She's sassy though.
What? No.
Crystal, tonight at 7:30 Central on my Others Keeper YouTube channel, Kim and I will be talking about my growing up years. If you want to join in, it was pre-recorded.
That's
but I'll
amazing.
talk in the chat. That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. So, Crystal, you and Kim were interviewed on my Other Keeper. Oh no, Kim is my Other Keeper. Okay,
Kim is my Others Keeper.
I was thinking of Surviving Together.
Oh no.
See, there's so many great channels. I'll get them all confused. Are you excited? Are you nervous? Like, I know it was pre-recorded, but how are you feeling about it?
Sort of nervous, sort of not. I did put the link on my YouTube saying that I would be on there. I'm also kind of planning on sharing it on my Facebook page afterwards.
Okay.
Okay.
The hard part is both my nieces and 3 of my nephews are on my Facebook. and their dad has not told them what went on.
Oh, okay.
So
Ooh.
they're gonna hear a little bit of, yeah, they're gonna know that their dad was abusive to me as well.
Okay.
Now, do you think that their dad is abusive to them?
Yes, I know that he has been.
Okay, so this could be helpful to them.
Possibly. The middle one, the second, like they've got a boy, 2 girls, and then twin boys. The middle one, my sister-in-law actually kicked my brother to the curb when the middle one was about 2.5 years old, because he was leaving handprints on her butt, and they were still on her butt 2 hours later.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
My sister-in-law has told me that when they were potty training the twins, the younger of the 2 twins, my brother would rub his nose in his shit if he didn't go in the potty.
Oh God.
Yeah. That's what we did with the cats if they missed the litter box.
Yeah.
Don't do that
I
to a human.
I didn't even do that with my cat. Oh
Right.
my gosh! Wow.
Yeah.
So, now, do you think that your nieces and nephews will actually watch it? Is that a
I
possibility?
don't know.
Okay.
The older niece might, because her and I have kind of gotten a little bit closer. Leo, come here. The heater kicked in, so he's singing the blues. I wouldn't be surprised if at least the oldest girl watches.
Okay.
I am pretty sure that he's been abusive of all of them, more than just yelling at them and physical.
Oh dear.
Um,
So maybe it won't hurt anything for them to hear you.
I'm hoping that it will actually help them.
Yeah.
From my understanding, the majority of them want nothing to do with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're not in the house together then?
All of the nieces and nephews are in their mid to late 20s.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So this is
They're
not
older.
an ongoing situation for their young kids then.
No, they're out of the house. But my oldest niece is expecting her first child the end of May.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Well,
I really don't want my brother around this baby, but there's not real, I don't have a choice in that. That's got to be up to her.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
So
maybe hearing your story will give her strength to stand up,
especially if she has a similar story, which I have a feeling. They were sent to the crisis center at the time when the middle one was 2.5. And when I found out that they were there, or that they had been stopped going there and released, I actually phoned and I said, I know you can't say whether you have had these people in your care, but I am telling you, I know, because I know the family. And I said, you need to make sure you're taking a closer look at this. He is not stupid enough to leave marks.
Oh, okay.
And I did it anonymously, but I also told them that I knew at least one of his previous victims.
So I have a question for you. This is an honest question, and I don't know. When you report something like a child is not in a good situation, like maybe not necessarily SA, just not in a good situation. do they like track your phone number? Can you do it completely anonymously? Or is there always a way for it to be found out who it was?
Because the crisis, at least back then, because that was what? That was before I moved here, so probably okay, how old are the twins? The twins are what? About 20, so it was about 19 years ago. So I wasn't here, and back then I just had a regular home phone.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of those agencies do not have call display simply because they want people phoning in to feel safe.
Okay.
So
In Ontario and Quebec, but again, I don't know how it differs to the States. Even when I called to report myself, it was anonymous at first. And they did not know. They said we had, 2 anonymous calls and they weren't able to track anything. And I called from my high school.
Okay.
So it would have been a landline, and all that they could say was that it was anonymous. And I'm pretty sure that if you state I'm calling anonymously, they're going to respect that.
Yeah.
I always wondered, like, and I see where they say Crime Stoppers will keep you anonymous, but like, what if it's not really like a huge crime? What if it's just like a check? I mean, I've always wondered, because I know there's like mandatory reporting, with teachers and stuff like that, and I just didn't know if it was truly anonymous or if it's like, yeah, you're anonymous.
Yeah, it's supposed to be by law. And that's how that's how some people are able to swat other people.
I like how you just kind of put that in there slightly, Ben.
Thank you so much for posting the link to Christy's channel. All we do now is we open up a browser and
There you go. Find me.
that didn't happen. That was
Hey,
very
I think
Manilow.
I have a purple sweater on in it. This piece of hair is driving me nuts.
Like I used to call the crisis line quite often when I was like in grade 11 and 12, and I would give them my name, but if I was really struggling, I would give them my other personality's name. And my main counselor there knew that if I was calling with my alternate name, things were bad. Things were even worse than.
Oh, okay.
But the next counselor that came along, she found out that I was calling in as a different person, and she got mad at me. And I said to her, this counselor knew. And she told you that this is what I do. So why are you mad at me? Because this is how it's been for ever since I started going there.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the odd time when I just couldn't give my name at all. Either name.
Yeah.
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 You're so articulate, and you express what you went through in such a way that it not having ever been through any of that myself has given me an understanding of not only your story, but even what your brother said to you about it and your thought process behind it. Like it's really brought another layer of to it. And sometimes when I hear stories, it makes me very sad, and like to the point that when I get off of here, I go take a walk or just I kind of have to decompress. But after hearing your story, I didn't have to do that. Like I was so proud of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What happened? But I was like,
it was a terrible thing that you went through, but I was so uplifted after that meeting. I really was.
Yeah.
It was remarkable.
You just have a way of explaining it that it's just unlike anything that I had ever heard. And being somebody, and there's a lot I have not been through. So I ask a lot of questions because I do genuinely try to understand. and you
Yeah.
just were so articulate in it. It was very helpful to me. So I'm sure your interview is going to be extremely helpful
Yeah.
to anyone who hears it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially if it was anything like what was on here the other day.
And I don't doubt
I
it
don't
will
know.
be.
I don't
What?
know. It's I don't know if the interview is helpful or not. I'm hoping it'll help people.
Mhm.
I try and use my story to help other people because a lot of people won't report.
Yeah.
A lot of people won't even come forward and say what's happening to them, and they'll stay in abusive situations. And if my story can help somebody come out and actually share what's happening to them,
Mhm.
and it was actually a cabin counselor sharing her story that made me realize that maybe someone would understand.
Right on.
And
Right.
she's the one I actually reached out to and said, I don't know what's going on, but I'm kind of wanting it to stop. And so I kind of told her, like, this is what we do. And she wrote back and said, you're being abused.
Wow.
So, and and it's funny because I sat there before that thinking, and I'd heard a lot of staff members at camp telling their stories. And I sit there and I would say, man, it would be really nice to have a story. Because at that point, it's like, oh, I grew up in a Christian home and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not realizing I did have a story.
Yeah.
And
And yeah, and I love listening to other people's stories because there's always something that I can get out of their stories.
Yeah.
And you never know when sharing is going to save somebody's life.
True.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I am just going to say this point blank. I am so thankful for you guys this last couple of weeks because I don't know if I could have made it through
Well,
without you guys and
I'm so
Kim.
glad we were able to help
Yes.
because you
Yeah.
certainly helped us too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Today's
learned
what,
so much.
Thursday?
Yes.
Tuesday before I went to bed, I took a full Ativan. And I wanted to take a lot more than just 1 milligram.
Oh, Crystal.
Goodness.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm
So,
glad you didn't go there. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you for not doing that.
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
yesterday, after getting off the phone with everybody and everything, I ended up, once you guys had finished, I was actually going to I was planning on going and having a soak in the tub. So I would never do it when this was live, but because it was the replay, I actually listened to the replay while I was having my soak in the tub.
We've had a lot of people who have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't feel comfortable doing that when you guys are live. So
Well,
No,
but
your outlook is inspiring.
Yeah.
Just the thought of sharing that you had said, sharing my story, I want it to help others, and then how you even turn that around, having the ability to listen to other people's stories and get something out of it as well.
Yeah.
You're the way that you see it is inspiring, and I appreciate that.
yeah.
It's something that I'm learning from you.
Yeah.
and it's all stuff that I've learned from others.
Right on.
So it's, we want to do something and we, emulate the behavior or see somebody who does it. But that's listening is such an amazing way to learn something because you get to hear the other person's inflections and see see what it does to them. And
Mhm.
to me, that's
Yeah.
powerful. I love hearing stories and I love sharing stories. For me, it's a way to connect. So like if I share a story, it's not because I'm trying to one up you. It's because it's
Yeah.
me
No.
working out that connection in my head, like out
Mhm.
loud. And you know, it helps me a lot. And everybody on the boat and here has taught me so much about compassion and addiction and things that I
Mhm.
never knew before. I'd never seen. You know, it's amazing how you can think that, you know, you had this life that you've kind of seen some things and then you really talk to people and you're like, you know,
Yeah.
I will share this. I was talking to Tommy one time and you know we were kind of talking about addiction and he said the fact that you're the age that you are, because I'm younger than Tommy but not like decades younger than Tommy. He's
Okay.
like,
How old are you?
I'm 48. I'm
Okay.
Yeah. So he's like the fact that you made it through all of that and didn't end up, you know, with some sort of an addiction, he's like, that says a lot because he's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
most people our age didn't come out of it unscathed. And I
Yeah.
was like, because my mom was a nurse, and there was a point where I had really bad cysts on my ovaries, like, and it hurt really bad. And I've got like that whole thing is not great. And I had really bad migraines, and they wanted to put me on pain meds when I was like 14 for all of it. And my mom's like,
Mhm.
absolutely not. No. And my dad told me, he's like, with the amount of pain that you have, this would be very bad for you. He's like, you're just gonna have to learn how to deal with it. Like it's not going to kill you, so learn how
Yeah.
to deal with it. And that's how I have always looked at pain. Is it's not going to kill me. I will get through it, even having my children. Like there's so I never really I just kind of never realized how lucky I was in that sense. And I love to hear people's stories because it's a story of overcoming. To me,
Yeah.
it's a good story. It's like, hey, I overcame this, you know, and then I want to celebrate with you. You know, I want to dance on the mountaintop with you, even though it's your mountaintop. I want to be like, here, let me light the bonfire. We'll dance around it. I'll light the glow stick. You know, like, 'cause I just get so excited for people when they do amazing things with their lives. You know, it's like how I. So that's my husband. Hold on.
Yep.
Oh, here we go.
Mick.
Here goes the furry herd.
Yes.
It's the thing I made. Can you see this? And then Sweetie, she tries to jump. She's only got 3 legs, so she can't really jump, but she tries to. It's fun.
Ms. D wanted to know, did it worsen after childbirth? I'm assuming that's the cysts.
So yeah, to a point. What happened was I had my oldest when I was 20, and then my two youngest are only 14 months apart. So when I was 27, I had 3 kids, and I had my tubes tied. So it did get worse after that. I don't know if it's because of the surgery or what. Then because I'm a certain age, a woman of a certain age, um, it's not as bad as it used to be, but it would be unbearable. I mean, you know, it's to the point sometimes I will like literally bend like double over and just kind of do Lamaze breathing to breathe through it. Like Michael at first, he was so sweet. He'd be like, "Are you okay? Oh my gosh, come here, let me help you," you know. And now he's just like, "She does this, it's fine." You know, and people are looking at him like, don't you care about your wife? He's like, no, I promise, she's fine. You know, he just kind of carries on, you know. Or his favorite thing is he's like, Christy's got it. Just it's fine. She's good. She's gonna be all right. I could be on the verge of death, and he'd be like, she's okay. But yeah, but yeah. So that was. They're still not better. I've got actual, like, they're not cancerous and they're not growing, but I've got actual tumors in there. So
Oh.
yeah.
Oh.
But I was young. I had to fight to have the tubal done, and they didn't want to do anything else because of my age.
So did you have endometriosis?
I've got that, yeah, and it's just and I mean all kinds of really nasty. It's
I have polycystic ovaries and endometriosis, and I have incredible pain.
Yeah.
It hurts.
It's Steve Day. Hi, Day.
Yeah,
It's Steve Day.
Steve Day.
I got to go get me a pie. But I can't sit down. I'm in so much pain. I can only stand, and I can stand still. That's it. And I'm like, and then I have to wait till that goes, and then I can move slowly, and then sit down. I'm like, But I've also had an ablation, so it shouldn't happen.
Yeah. After Weeman, I had him in July, the November after they took both my ovaries from PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Well, see, and they left mine.
Mine were calcified though. So there was not really an option, and I wasn't really producing much hormone anyways. So instead of me dealing with the pain constantly, they just took them, and the pain after Weeman was worse than after my princess. So, and there's 7 years between them, but that 7 years between was not easy, but it wasn't like it was after him.
Yeah. I had sorry.
No, you go.
Okay. I had endometriosis as well. And cysts that I guess were popping, and I had no idea because the pain was just always there. Because the one surgery they went in and they said, well, there's a cyst on the left side. So, and then they took ultrasounds a week before and it had moved to the right side. So, but I eventually, 8.5 years ago, I had a complete hysterectomy and appendectomy. So,
being a woman, I tell you sometimes.
that was the best thing that happened to me because I hated that reminder all the time.
Well, when you think about it, when they say women suffered the wrath of God, so that's why we get all the pain. I can understand where that came from back in the thinking, because men were just having fun and women were out there dying from childbirth.
Right.
Yeah, so it makes a lot of sense. And lots of women actually, especially Indigenous women, die still in childbirth in Australia. I'm not sure about America, but I do know that it's a higher death rate for mothers and babies than it is for the non-Indigenous population. Yeah, and you just think, why?
Right.
My goodness.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't understand why. I can't fathom. Except maybe they live in place. They've been pushed out to places where they don't have the services available and all that sort of stuff because they were put into reserves basically, but we call them something else. So, but yeah, because they lived in the places we lived. We live, in the nice areas where it all grows and not in the desert. So yeah. Yes, yes, I have.
Teresa's dentist, cute.
I actually had a lisp when I was a kid, so I know how she feels. It's especially and then I got my plate, and then I got my lisp back, so I had to relearn. You'd have to relearn where to place your tongue and stuff like that.
Okay.
I actually have a Furby meme that says yes. That's my favorite. It's a little evil Furby.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
I had a mandibular advancement, and that's where they basically cut the jaw, slide it forward, and then wire it shut so it heals. It's where if you have your jaws too small. Unfortunately, one of the things that is a risk, but it's not the end of the world. They cut the nerve, so yeah, no feeling here. The problem with that is you basically have to learn how to speak again because you're so used to having feeling in your lower lip. It wasn't bad, but it's, yeah. So, yeah, I kind of know what she's going through. Christy, I meant to ask you, what case are you following for your channel?
The Menendez brothers. Well, I'm following the Menendez brothers and Scott Peterson. Yeah. I want to kind of I like the idea of revisiting, but I'm also kind of a conspiracy theorist and I can go down a rabbit hole better than anybody
Have
else.
you heard? Have you heard that there's a link? There's a link between the Menendez brothers and Ricky Martin's
Yes,
music
I heard
group.
that.
Yes,
Yes,
the father. Josie, or whatever his name is. I don't know how to say it. I've just seen it. But yeah, Jose, that's the one. Menendez, the father, he had something to do with some Spanish or Mexican, I'm not sure where they came from, music group. And Ricky Martin was in it. He was like 14 at the time.
Yeah,
the father has, the people from that sort of era have come forward and said, has said that the father was abusive. And you kind of think this is a reactionary.
So it happened to them too, right? That I had not heard.
So here's
no, it did.
First of all,
okay.
Before I get into that, I still see it. Rebecca, I do have some things that can help you. I will send it to you in a private message. So yes, I definitely got.
Don't follow that. I have a friend who follows Dr. Berg, and I don't have the heart to tell her he's a Scientologist because she's really into him. But she's not a Scientologist at all. So I'm just there going, he's not great.
Okay. So the reason, Matrix Rabbit, the 30 years, is because they actually found a letter that had been written that was not allowed into evidence because the first trial happened and it was like a hung jury or something like that. And then they got another trial, but what they did was they had two separate juries. So they were on trial at the same time, but two separate juries. And I'm sorry, I don't know if you're in the States or not, but that's not typically how that's done. I don't know any other case that's had two separate juries. So they had one jury for Eric and one jury for Lyle. Am I matched up with my, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
We can hear you. We're just intensely listening.
So that's typically not how that's done. So one jury could only listen to stuff about Eric and one jury could only listen to stuff about Lyle. But what they didn't allow in really was any of that abuse because one of the boys, I don't remember which one it was, had been writing to his cousin saying that all of this was still happening. Where the connection with Menudo comes in is that they were the first boy band, but the whole premise behind it was they were never going to grow up. So you could only be in it from the ages of like 14 to 17. And then when you hit 17, you got kicked out and they replaced you. So it was always this, I think there was like 5, 6, 7 guys in it. So there was always this pool of children to pull from. And apparently, and this didn't come out until later, Jose would follow them around. So he worked for RCA and he followed that band around and he was on tour with them. And one of the guys from that told his story, came out and told his story. He's a grown man. He's like 50 years old now, something like that. And because of the letter, because that's considered new evidence, it was not used in the previous case. So that's new evidence that can be introduced, which can cause a new trial to go forward. And then this person's experience, which no one knew about at the time, but is also tied in, then it's looking a lot worse. Now, they did, in fact, actually, like, they did it, right? That's not that's not the thing. It's, what would it have been?
I think the reasonings are wrong. Back in the because I remember this case when I was young, and I was like, wow, this guy killed his parents. I was like, is it possible? No, jokes. But yeah, and then it came out that they were saying it was because of money, but then the lawyers of the boys were saying, no, it's because of abuse. And I was thinking, why isn't anyone hearing any of this? And then why did they get? Because as a victim of abuse, it's reactionary. I believe, there's a reactionary, abuse and harm. So maybe, like, I don't think they should get away with it, but there should be a way lesser sentence.
Did they confess? I mean, was there a confession? If so, was there any tale of abuse in that? Or
The first trial I ended up watching through Legal Bite. She does a whole series going through the first trial. This is where there's the hung jury. So the abuse does come up in that trial. It's the retrial where the prosecution states, you weren't abused. This is not a defense. You cannot use that this time around. Now, Christy, try speaking properly. Correct me if I'm mistaken, but the person who wrote that letter that was found in the storage unit recently, did they not testify in the first trial where there was a hung jury?
The person who received the letter testified. One of the brothers wrote the letter. Yeah, one of the brothers wrote the letter. The person who received it testified. See, there was testimony around it in the first one. But the bad thing is when you do that, you show your hand, right? It's like playing poker, flashing your hand and then playing with the same hand. So, and here's the other thing. Money gets you a lot of things. I mean, they were obviously, like, it was pretty brutal. It was like 16 times that, with a shotgun. So like that's not pretty. Like I'm not going to get graphic about it, but that oh. Yeah, so and the mother knew. So here's the other thing. The mother knew. So her brother was doing it to them as well as their dad. And the mother knew about both and did nothing, which to me, I don't understand. As a mother, I do not understand how you don't, like, I'm not even kidding. I would smile in my mugshot with blood spatter on my face and be like, that is what it would look like. Because I would you don't hurt my children. And not only you don't any children around me. Like, if I found out any child was being hurt, that's when the other crazy part would come out. And
but not all mothers are like that. And we have people in our group who who've been through that. Not all mothers are like that. Sometimes they'll put their partners before everything.
I don't understand. I mean, I'm sorry. Like,
I know I don't understand it either. Like, I don't think anyone who couldn't do that could understand.
And I don't want to trigger anybody. I don't want to ask anybody.
No. I'm just saying, it's just, it's not as, sadly, it's not as uncommon as we'd like to think. And my mother did it. It wasn't as extreme, huh?
Crystal, are you okay?
No.
Okay. You have to put on your headlights. And I didn't know if, like, maybe I said something wrong, or maybe you're just shocked that tiny little me would do that. I wasn't sure, so I just wanted to make sure you were okay.
I guess a lot of it, like, this happened, you said, about 30 years ago?
No, they got a 30-year sentence.
Oh, okay.
Was it 30 years ago?
It was even.
Yeah, it was. Oh, gosh. It was 1989.
Just realize how old I am.
And they got life. They got life. Yeah.
You got to remember back then too, people coming out about being abused was very few and far between.
And it's also still difficult now, to come forward So, and sometimes it takes a long time for people to reconcile or even believe that it happened to them, because they get gaslit by their abusers and think that it's their fault, blah, blah, blah. So it takes a long time for them to come to terms with the fact that it happened and that they're ready. And some people are never ready.
It wasn't their fault, and that it was really done to them. And it really was abuse.
I've always wondered if their confession, if they mentioned abuse or if there was a lack of mention.
No, I think
I'm pretty sure they mentioned it. Yeah,
Oh.
because I
They
remember.
brought it up at trial.
Yeah. So it's not something that was unknown. And when you think about it, like because I looked it up the other day because I wanted to see the documentary or something. There's a documentary coming out. So I wanted to see that, and I was looking on YouTube, and I found all these things I hadn't seen, like I think their auntie came forward and said something about, that they were abused, and it's been corroborated by so many people. But I think the thing is, so they did it. That's for sure. That's absolutely known. But was the sentence fair, considering, because I watched another thing, they have to take into account the crime and the things that took into account the crime for things to be a death penalty. Things have to match or not match or whatever.
No. Well,
And that's what. And life in prison is kind of a death penalty. It may not be. It's just a long, slow death penalty. And in the end, you just sort of think, was it fair? Sure, they should have got some time because we don't want to encourage, this sort of thing. So they should get some sort of, consequences, but it should never have been life because they already suffered their whole life.
Yeah.
So
and it's so striking what Henny's saying here. Lyle said he was never so free as being in prison. My God.
Shocking.
My God.
Yeah,
because you're finally away from the pain of the abuse.
Yeah.
I got to say, I used to try to get myself in hospital all the time to get away, just so I could have a safe space where I could actually talk to someone without people being around.
Here's the other thing. They did confess to it. And they got sent to separate prisons because of the crime that they did. That's how they do it. And they didn't get to see each other for a really long time. But here's the thing that gets me. And morally, how do you set that standard, right? Because
you know what? You know how you set the standard? You tougher on those who do abuse. There are people out there who get more time for pot than what they do for ruining children's lives,
Right.
And so they'll get 2 years. I know my son's abuser got 2 years, and my son,
and
2 years,
and they're out within 3 or 4 months.
Well, he was out within a year.
I think if somebody, I can understand how somebody would get to the point that they would break like that.
Yeah.
It
we need to make it safe so that people don't need to get to that point. We need to make abusers get actual consequences, ruin their life. Put them in jail, because majority of those sort of people aren't going to get better. Put them in jail.
Yeah.
See, and I'm saying, don't just put them in there to rot. Try and help. Study them. You send some heaps of psychologists and specialists in there to study why they act this way and see how we can change it. See if it's something genetic, whatever. I think once they get into jail, they lose their right to not be studied, not like medically, but brain-wise, as far as psychology and all that sort of stuff, to see why people act that way. And I'm not saying that you're right. They should have rights and be treated kindly and blah blah blah, humanely. But they should help, and if they're not going to help willingly, study that too. Study why.
Yeah.
The only way we can ever get things better is through education and knowledge, and and we have to start now, because it's just going to get worse.
Yeah,
it is.
We have to continue taking away the stigma from all of these things.
Yeah,
I understand that we have made progress and we have done work on that since 30 years ago. Even mental health, we've taken away some stigma, but we have not taken away enough stigma as a society yet.
Yeah,
and it's going to take some radical change.
It's really hard to be a victim. It's really hard to come forward. The system is not set up to help victims at all. It's set up to help the legal system. Because that's why a lot of us don't come forward. It's because it's so damn scary.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing, and this is there are a lot of men who are sexually abused, as
Yes.
children,
Yes.
and on, and they don't like that to be them, to be in that situation. Okay, so they lived in Beverly Hills. They came from privilege. I mean, obviously, it goes to show that knows no bounds. But
Yes.
I would think, as hard as it is for a woman to come forward, I cannot fathom how hard it would be for a man to come forward.
Right.
And I think that might, yeah, it just blows my mind. It
Mm-hmm.
really does. It
Mm-hmm.
really, like, I just don't understand somebody can do that to a person or a
Yeah.
child or your own child.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what makes you look at your child and in any way
Mm.
go, this is a good idea? Like,
Mm-mm.
A lot of it's nothing. It's about control and hurting, like the power, enjoying power over someone. It's not even, a lot of times it's not even to do with anything sexual. I'm sure there's that element, but a lot of times it's power and control, especially if you're doing it, abusing your own children. And I mean any sort of abuse. And when I was saying, victims, I meant there was no gender.
Right. Of course.
Yeah, it's hard. And I agree. It must be so much harder because there's that thing, and I think toxic masculinity stems into that. Oh, if you're a real man, you'd never have let that happen. You would have beat them up or murdered them or something. And that's where, you got to be a real man. Real men don't let that happen. You know what? Real men are kind. They're funny. They're gentle. Real men aren't going around abusing people. That's not a real man.
No.
That's a monster.
No, not at
That's
all.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, yeah, and for them, figuring they're younger. I do still like that. They were younger boys, and being athletes, they're going to be in that situation, and it was just the age, like everybody was saying. At that point, it happened a lot. Reporting was a lot less. They're males, and on top of that, they're expected to be macho sportos.
Jocks. Uh-huh.
Yeah. When I gave my statement to the police so that the charges would go forward, I was in a small little room with a male detective, and he's hammering me with, "Are you sure that happened that way?
Yeah.
Did they do this?" And I'm going, "Well, what does that mean?"
Yeah.
Because I didn't know sexual terminology because those weren't used.
Right.
And it was hard because I wasn't allowed to have my support person in with me, and you're in just this tiny little room with not even a desk between you, and they're hammering you with questions. And even the first people that I told when they came and talked to me, they said, "Are you sure this is what happened? We need you to tell us exactly what happened." And I couldn't say those words at that point.
Yeah.
Are you sure? No, I'm not sure. No, this was just done to me repeatedly.
Yeah. And they were saying, "Well, can you tell us exactly what happened?" And I said, "I can't remember." I could remember details because it had only been 6 months.
Well,
But those words weren't allowed to be spoken in our house.
Wow.
yeah, that's the unfortunate truth, especially here in the States. Well, in Canada at that point,
Yeah.
at that, Canada's recently changed their model, but here and there, they were using the read technique, and that is something where
Oh,
you
is that
do not,
interrogation thing?
yeah, and you do not want to be in that room with a police officer without a lawyer present, because everything is geared towards putting you in fight or flight, which will get you out of your thinking brain into your little what do you call it, animal brain,
Reptilian brain.
and they keep you there.
Yeah.
And they've even
Every
said that it's they get people to what's the word? Falsely confess.
Oh yeah, that happens. Yeah, it happens all the time, and
because they're so out of it, they'll be.
yeah,
They're basically gaslighting you into confessing.
Yeah, and they'll do all sorts of things. They will from really small things like they'll lie and they'll say, "Well, we have the small things." They come in with a paper. They'll come in with stacks of paper and they'll lay it down and then make you think that's evidence. And they do simple things like they'll redo your rights here in the States. I think you have something similar in Canada. And they say, but this is just a formality, and they're geared to getting your mind off of that as quickly as possible. Then they will take you through positive confrontation, theme development. That's where they say, well, this person really deserved it. They try to get you in that mindset. Then they get you to rejecting your denials. And that is where, and that's the only place where an innocent person will keep, no, this, you're not doing it. And a lot of cops don't recognize that stuff. Then they politely overcome objections. That's where they, no, well, we know this didn't happen. You start to deny something, they'll cut you off and like, no, this is what happened. We know this is what happened, even though they don't. Then they will start displaying, what was the next step? Yeah, display sincerity. They don't focus on the punishment. This, oh, I'm here for you. So you want to be my friend. I'm trying to help you from all those people out there. And when you're in that frame of mind, that crap works. And then they'll take you to they'll try to overcome your passive mood, because at that point you'll go through and you'll typically start to shut down. No, that's where they do this little trick where they'll put their hand on your knee and just
fuck no.
Just tell me.
We had the same reaction.
Well, better not have touched me.
and that is seriously one of the steps. They'll move closer. They'll put their hand on your knee or shoulder. Oh, now it's okay. Just tell me about what happened now. And they'll focus on getting you to.
They'll also trap you in a corner.
Then they'll go to an alternate question. That's what they say. Well, you don't look like a bad person to me. Only a bad person. There must be a reason why you did. So this sets a dichotomy in your brain. I don't want to be a bad person like he says I am if I continue to deny this.
Nice.
And then he'll go through and they'll push for an oral confession, then a written confession. But yeah, the thing is that it's all geared to putting you in fight or flight. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go into all.
No, it's good.
You know,
no,
it
is fascinating.
And that's why when I talking about good person, bad person, that's why when I talk to people and I try to help people, I tell them, look at things, is it healthy or unhealthy? Because good and bad, that's serious.
Yeah.
You know, oh, you're a bad person if blah, 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 blah. No, maybe you're a good person who made a bad choice, you know, or you're a good this. And I hate that. That's so dualistic and I don't like it at all. Good and bad. No.
Nothing's that black and white.
No.
Yeah, you can see one of the things I brought up with Tommy, he mentioned Colonel Russell Williams. He was a Canadian colonel. He was doing all sorts of bad stuff. He would break into women's homes. He would start out just observing them, and then he started doing the R word, and then he killed a few. And during the confession, it's a classic where all these steps are, you can see this guy working the process on him. He comes in and says, here's your tire tracks. And it turned out the guy was guilty, but here's these tire tracks we have. We took these at the scene. Here are your car tire tracks. These are the same as a fingerprint. That's complete and utter horse poop. Here are your boot tracks. Here are these boot tracks. These are the same as a fingerprint. I can get experts in here. That is complete poop, but it works.
Well, I had a friend talking about coercing confessions. So stealing horses and cattle is still really illegal in Nevada. Like it is still a hangable offense. You get in huge trouble for that because there's a lot of really huge ranches out there The MC Ranch isn't around anymore, but it had over 1 million acres. I mean, these ranches are no joke. They're owned by huge corporations, and I know a lot of the guys that work on them, and they have 401ks and insurance and all this stuff. Like, it's a big deal. But a guy that I knew got brought in outside of Elko. He was working on the TA Ranch at the time for cattle rustling. And
Wow.
he was like, he said, I thought I did it. He goes, I didn't do it, but I thought I did it.
Yeah.
And and I mean, it was a big deal. He was because you're kind of it's that whole thing. Like, well, if you're innocent, just talk to us. It's fine. We'll figure it out. So you start talking to him. Well, he ended up he hemmed himself up pretty good. So they had to sell some tack and get some money, and eventually they got it sorted out. Like, he didn't do anything. But yeah, he's like, I thought I did it. He's like, I was pretty convinced I did it. And I'm like,
Wow.
pretty sure you would know if you stole 100 head of cattle. Like,
Right.
it's not like, did I take some gum and not pay for it? But take some planning. But yeah, he's like, it's the scariest thing. And he said, don't ever talk to the cops. He's like, go in and say, I want an attorney, and shut up.
Yeah, and I was just saying that because with Crystal's point, that way, it's one of those things where it's getting to the point where even if you're the victim, you almost need a lawyer to make sure this crap, like the police officer discounting it, you almost need a freaking lawyer if you're reporting something.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like at this point. Like, I should have walked in with a lawyer when all of my stuff went down instead of waiting until after.
Yeah.
I've already started the process of my lawyer. I've gone to legal aid and all that sort of stuff because I'm not doing it without a lawyer, because I'm I have so many it's not comprehension I have difficulty. It's with when someone tells me something, it takes me 15 seconds to get it straight in my head. So that's why I'll sometimes be like, what? And then I'll answer before they tell me, because I've just processed it. But and that's what I'll be like, but I've been very lucky in that I've had very nice people, and a lot of what I've already said has been corroborated. So there's evidence already. So they're not so anti me talking to them. They've already opened an investigation. So
Plant Freak, you knew who Colonel Russell Williams was?
I lived on that base.
Wow.
I lived on the base where all of that happened. The fear is still there to this day. I know people that still live on that base. And even in that town, the fear is still there. There's a certain piece of woods that I wouldn't walk past, and I know certain people just avoid because he had done some things in there. I didn't know him personally, the charges, and he was already put away when I moved to that base for at least 2 or 3 years. But the fact that the residual fear is still there is, you can feel it. As soon as the name comes up, people scurry.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, when you think about it, that sort of stuff sort of changes a community, because if it hadn't happened. And also, there's something I was thinking, Christy, like, did they ever find out what happened to that young woman on that base? I think it was Fort Worth or something like that, where she went missing, and like there was a whole big cover up. They didn't ever.
Just a few years ago, right?
It wasn't that long ago, yeah. Because I can't remember any details for it to Google. I've been trying to find out about it because my mate, she said that it wasn't. She didn't go missing, and it's a well-known secret, and that was before everything came out. And then there's been a whole range of different people and weapons and all that sort of stuff gone missing. I was wondering what happened with that.
I think Colonel, the Russell Williams stuff, I think that was in 2014, I think.
I know it was the 2010s. I couldn't give you an exact date. I couldn't. I know it was the 2010s time frame.
There's so many forts, I don't know which one it was. But yeah, and you just sort of think, well, you got to wonder what sort of culture they have that can happen. Some woman can just go missing and they just be quiet about it.
Yeah, right.
I didn't
Yeah,
know.
that was infuriating. That was very maddening.
Okay, here, Specialist Vanessa
Vanessa.
Gilligan,
Yes.
Yeah.
was reported missing from Fort Hood. Isn't that in North Carolina?
Yeah.
April 2020, and her remains were found on June 30th, 2020. Her case inspired protests and led the Army to discipline more than a dozen officials. A makeshift memorial for her is at a Powerhouse Gym in Houston in August.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
See,
I do
Yeah.
remember.
because
Yeah.
because my mate lived in Killeen in Texas.
And
So
and the
she
one
was-
who ended up murdering her, why were they covering up for him? I mean, he was a POS, straight up. I did not understand their response to it all. At all.
Well,
Apparently
I
he
mean,
died.
so to be
Oh,
fair,
that's right.
I've never been in the military. Okay, so I'm not. I'm just talking about it. But there's just a culture, you know. I mean,
Well, the culture needs to
it's a culture.
change because that's bullshit.
It is completely.
Working on it.
Yeah.
And I don't
Yeah.
understand why they kept a secret even after he died, sort of thing. Like they just like his girlfriend or something. I think she was. I just read the wiki thing. Why?
Right.
If I found out my partner had done anything like that, I'd be the first one reporting them.
Right.
I'd be like, that's where my loyalty ends. Sorry.
Yeah.
There's a
Sorry.
level of fear, though, especially with the military aspect.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
There's
I'm
a
saying.
level of fear as a partner, not only for yourself, because what they're trained for,
Mhm.
but then you're also conditioned to be concerned for their job and what it is that they provide for you.
And I
So
suppose
at
if they've
that
done the
point,
wrong thing, they lose all their pension and stuff, and so does a partner.
well, and it's not the pension might not even be the problem. It's what happens when they lose all of that and I'm still around because of it. And I'm still around to see it all. Now what happens to the partner, or what happens at that point? And even once they are deceased or they're put away or there's been repercussions, there's still the fear of how the military aspect is going to help and cover things up. Because it happens a lot.
Yeah, we have a problem with that over here. We had a whole bunch of war crimes committed by some cross winner, Victoria Cross or something, some big fancy winner. He was in the SAS, and he was he was taking spoils of war, which is a war crime, and over in Afghanistan, and terrible crimes, and he's been investigated, and then the media came out and said it. Then he sued the media. More came out. I mean, who would do that? And so now it's and the media were found that they majoritively they spoke the truth because they had witnesses, and you don't, and that you just think when people do this, it makes us look bad, and we lose the moral high ground if we ever had one. So so if we're doing this to their soldiers, I'm talking about Australians, Kiwis, whoever is doing this sort of stuff to their people, what do you expect if they do stuff to us? It's just we've got to be better. We always have to be better, and sometimes that may mean that we may lose some stuff, but we should always hold the moral high ground. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
Not just moral high ground, the humane high ground. People above everything, I think. Lives above everything else. And that's not where it is. It's oil and products and land and religion and all that sort of stuff. It's not lives. No one really cares about life. Like the pro-life movement isn't about pro-life. They're about pro-pregnancy. They don't care once a kid's born.
Yep.
So, I think every pro-life person should be made to take on someone who can't have that child. So put your money where your mouth is. So, yeah. And that's not to say that, I don't know. That's just what I think. I think it should always be lives first.
Yeah, I agree.
Off my soapbox. I have some great news. I actually wanted to try and get some help so I could get enough subs on my actual channel, which is my name, which I'll post, so I can do some lives, go to the beach, because I want to go to the beach.
Right on.
But I don't really want to. I'm not going to do like a talkie. I'm not going to be like, "Hi, this is Christy. This is the beach," and on to the right. Yeah, I just want to just go, "This is the beach."
What's your channel? Is it just Cosmic Christie or?
No, I'll use my actual channel because that already has a few surprise. That's Christy Robinson. I'll post it. It's on my Discord thing,
Oh.
but yeah, I'll post it in the group.
Yeah,
So,
I want to see
yeah.
this.
So yes, and also my son is he is. I didn't know, but he actually got put forward for this job without a interview, and so he got in without anything. And also, he's a supervisor. And after after the month trial thing that he gets, he's going to get like $200,000 a year.
Oh my God.
Wow, that's good money.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, oh my God. And I was thinking, and for me, I'm thinking that's great for Jaden. But also it's great for me because that means I can run away and he's going to be fine.
Good.
So it's all happening. It's all good, you know.
Yeah.
And he was the only one who showed up to work today to set up for the graduation ceremony. He's there now doing it. No one else is there. Where's my son?
Oh, hey. Good.
Yeah, what was that thing that Izzy was talking about?
How they in the medical field isn't pro-life with Indigenous women, that's for sure. They pressured my mother to get sterilized at 24. Yeah. I hope that still isn't going on, but
it's still happening in Australia to Indigenous
Right.
women, and generally to Indigenous women who don't have the mental. It's usually intellectually disabled people who get talked into it, basically,
Yeah.
because they have to give some form of consent, but they're not actually sure. They don't know what they're consenting to. They're thinking they're having generally some sort of medical procedure for their womb, and they end up getting sterilized. I mean, who does that? Well, the governments do.
Here's the thing, like, and this is another thing where I just realized how different my story is. I had to fight really hard at 27 to get my tubes tied. Like, I had to threaten. I had to threaten the doctor. And then when it happened, I had to actually get permission. Like, I had to have my ex sign that it was okay.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And
I had the same issue because I was still married. And they're like, well, you might get back together and you're still married, so your husband has to give permission. I'm like, what?
It's my body. Thank you very much.
Well, that was
I was 24.
That was
24.
my part.
Yeah.
But not to make it about me, but just like, so I had to fight, and then other people are being pressured.
Yeah.
It's not okay. Like, you should get to choose.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, my daughter doesn't want to have children either, but because she's got autism, they think she doesn't have the mental capacity to choose.
Oh my goodness.
Well, yeah,
she is only she's 22, but she knows, and she's known her whole life she never wants kids. She says, if I ever have kids, I'll adopt because I don't want to pass on my issues to those kids. And I'm just thinking, she should. As soon as a kid cries, she'd be like, nah, Mom. So she couldn't handle a kid, but she just doesn't want one. And she knows that. And it's her right.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I had to go through the same thing to get the male equivalent. And I was 28 or so. And the doctor says, like, well, we want to get you a psychological evaluation. It's like, for this? Really?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Well, my one friend, she wanted to have her tubes tied after her 4th child. And they said, oh, well, we don't want to do that because you're so young. She says, if I want to have more kids, there are plenty of kids waiting for adoption and in foster care.
Yeah, that was my rationale.
And she pushed to get it done. 4 kids.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you put the body through the nuff after a certain point. Yeah.
So my ex ruined my dreams of being a foster parent because he put this thing on me. So because I have it on me. That's one of the reasons why I need to fight to get it off, so I can be a foster parent, because that was always my dream. I always wanted to take the kids that were, too old, nobody else wanted, that get put into homes.
Yeah.
Because I can deal with difficult kids, and I've got Xboxes and computers, and I can keep them entertained and all that sort of stuff. And it won't be long term. It will just be until they find a more long term place. But why not?
Yeah, right on.
The thing I don't understand is they sit there and they push us, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. And yet the second somebody says, oh, well, I've got an unplanned pregnancy and I want to get rid of it. Oh, sure, let's do that. Let's go and do that. You want to do that? And it's like they pressure you to have the abortion, but they won't let you have the things done that will make it so that you don't need the abortion.
Yeah.
And
well, they don't pressure that at all over here. It's actually you have to go through a lot of counselling and all that sort of stuff, and it has to be made sure that it was your decision and not someone else's.
to have an abortion.
They try to do that in Canada, but it's easily coerced by the other person, the partner, to say, no, I don't want the child, and you take that information to the counselor. It's not easily seen. Like, to me, it should be easier if you're trained in that field as a psychologist, psychiatrist especially. You should be able to see when somebody is being coerced.
Right.
I think that's actually getting better, because the police saw that I was being coerced before I did. So it's all in their records. Yeah. Whereas here I was saying, no, everything's fine, because he was standing right there. They all saw. But the thing is, I can't hide anything. Everything's all on my face all the time. I'll be a terrible person. I'll be there going.
Yeah. I see you. I love you too. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think we actually over here in Australia we have a really good universal system where if you're a mother, you are guaranteed to get some sort of payment either through maternity leave or parenting payment, which is the benefit, I guess you'd call it. And then after that, you get family tax payment and childcare and all that sort of stuff. So it's easier to have children over here, but that doesn't mean more people should be having children.
Right.
Right. So, but it's a lot easier. I could never have raised my children in America because I couldn't work, because my daughter, it was not possible. So I'm just lucky that I was here, because I had the system that supported me in being her full-time parent and then a full-time carer, and now is caring for me. So I'm very lucky to be here. So yeah, I just think I couldn't imagine what it's like for parents who would be in my situation over in America, because any wonder there's people over there struggling, and it's so and I'm not saying Australia is better, because we have our problems here. I'm just saying, you got to wonder if people are so miserable, what can make them happy? There should be a happy index. Well, there is, but more government should pay attention to raising it.
There should also be more factors added to it.
Yeah.
Instead of just running off the factors from God knows how many decades ago when they put it in place.
Yeah. It should be, are you, I don't know, just happy with everything? And lots of people aren't. And, my life is pretty hectic and all that sort of stuff. But in general, I'm happy. Like I sang all the way home today. I was dancing in the car, and then a dude next to me was looking at me. I'm like, hi. And but it's just like I'm still happy because I'm alive. I'm just lucky. I just feel every day I'm alive. I feel lucky, because there's lots of people out there who don't have that luck, or even the I'm privileged. I'm freaking privileged, really.
That's how I look at it. When I go to buy groceries or whatever, people ask how my day is. And I'm like, you know what? I can pay my bills and I can buy groceries and put gas in my car. So even if my day is crappy, it's still a good day. It's still a good day.
Yeah.
And
I always try and find one thing to be happy about every day.
Yeah. I mean, it just is. Gosh, it's so much. The world is so much sometimes. So much.
It is. But, we're all here and we make each other's world a better place. Well, you guys will make my world a better place. Everybody in the panel and in the chat and on Discord and in the boat, everyone, it just, and everybody I have in my life as well. I just think it's just, we're lucky. And, well, I'm lucky, and even though my situation is a little shit, I'm still lucky regardless because I'm here.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And your life gets better because you get to hear me get after the dogs. Oh, funny story about that. And I'm gonna hop off. I was coming in. I was walking Mikey in, and there was this gal coming in through the side door, and she had all the stuff. And Mikey started barking at her, and so I made him sit down, and I got after him, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Act like somebody. That is not a gentlemanly thing to do. We don't bark." And I'm like talking to him, and she, but she goes, "My mama used to tell me to act like somebody." Oh, and I totally got it from Andy Griffith, but but I was like, well, it works, and but so yeah. But I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. We're gonna go do some dinner and that kind of thing. So it was good to see you all.
Good to see you too.
Good to see you too.
And Crystal, I will try to catch your interview. I don't know that I will catch it live, but I will catch it on the replay for sure.
Sunset is at 7 now that the time has changed. So I will probably miss the live, but I will definitely do the replay.
Yes.
Technically, even the live is a replay because we taped it last week.
Okay.
That's okay. Hey. Well, you guys all have a good night, and I will see you tomorrow. I probably won't see you guys Sunday and Monday since Michael's going to be off.
Okay.
But I will post up pictures and stuff like that. But you guys all take care.
You too.
Try to get some sassy shoes.
I'm trying.
Well, you guys, what do you think? Have we had a meeting? I feel like we've had a meeting.
I do too.
Yeah.
I like the range of things that we talk about. It's very interesting.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of like the fact that we just run wherever it is that we are, wherever the conversation takes us. That way we're not like, okay, well, what's the next part of this topic?
Yeah.
I've got a few more little leaky spots I got to fix in the fence.
Uh-oh.
Keep those dogs out of the road.
Oh, goodness. Is it going to take you very long? Are you going to be able to do it tonight?
I don't know. I need to do as much as I can, though.
Okay.
Love you, Misha. Yeah, I've got to get going. I've got to get ready for graduation.
Okay.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Yes.
Congratulations to your bigger wee man.
Yes, my taller than me wee man.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right then. I love you guys, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Well, it's Saturday tomorrow, so I should be able to be here if I'm
There you
awake.
go.
I always for some reason I forget you're a day ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't tell me what happens. I want to be surprised when it does.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The sun does come up.
Okay. Okay. That's good. That's good.
All right then. Love you guys. See ya.
Good night. Love you.
Love you.
Night.
Yeah. I'll say good night to everybody. Good night, Ben,
night.
Carol, Crystal. Have a good night.
You have an awesome evening.
Good night.
Good night. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Bye. Oh, my Lanta. What a day. The storm knocked everything out. I mean, and literally just as I was getting ready to come on.
That's usually, that's pretty much it.
I mean, I'm like, okay. That's
It's
interesting.
No donkey updates.
No, no donkey updates. Just now I got fencing to do on the side where the boys are, because that's where the dogs are, because the fence isn't good enough on the girls' side to keep the dogs in. So it's always something. My neighbor said my dad always used to say, "There's always something to ruin a feller's day."
It does sound interesting. It sounds like it keeps, yeah, it always sounds like there's something interesting going on.
Yeah, that's one word for it.
Yeah, and I have to live. I have to live vicariously through you. So I have no life. So yeah, thank you for letting me borrow your.
You're very welcome.
I hope you have an awesome evening,
You
and
too.
I hope it's productive for you. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
how do you do this? There we go.
All right, I'm going to see if I can keep those dogs in. Thank you guys so much. This was a great meeting. I love you guys. You're a great community. This is a great community to be part of. And thank you so much for being part of it with me and with us. Hope to see you again next meeting. And until then, peace, y'all.